Imagine you are sitting at your desk, sipping your coffee, looking out the window. You are on the 85th floor of a glittering glass skyscraper. Suddenly, the fire alarm goes off. You are over 1,000 feet in the air. Your brain panics. Your eyes dart around the room. And what is the very first thing you look for? A sign. Today we are exploring the terrifying, brilliant, and high-stakes science of skyscraper evacuation, and how the humble, glowing signs you ignore every single day are actually highly engineered machines designed to save your life. Before architects can design a concrete stairwell or map out an evacuation route, they have to design for human psychology, and human beings are incredibly weird creatures. When an alarm goes off in a massive high-rise, people do not immediately run for their lives. Instead, they experience a psychological phenomenon known as the normalcy bias. Our brains are hardwired to believe that everything is fine. We hate disruptions. So, when an alarm blares, our brains instantly try to rationalize it. We think, it's just a drill, or someone burnt popcorn again. But for a signage designer, there is a second, even more dangerous psychological hurdle: learned irrelevance. Think about it. You pass dozens of glowing exit signs every single day, above the door at your office, at the grocery store, in the movie theater. Because they are always there and you never actually need them, your brain stops seeing them. They become visual white noise. In emergency psychology, this is called milling. Studies of real-world high-rise evacuations show that people waste a terrifying amount of time before they start moving. They look to their coworkers for social cues. If Steve in accounting isn't running, you don't run either. During the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, researchers found that the average occupant waited several minutes before they even started heading toward the stairs. In a high-rise fire, those minutes are the difference between life and death, because smoke travels through a building at incredibly high speeds, up to 300 feet per minute. So, how does a sign designer break through learned irrelevance? How do you make a sign grab the attention of a brain that is actively trying to ignore it? You have to use color, contrast, and universal language. And historically, getting that right has been a massive global argument. If I ask you to picture an exit sign right now, you probably picture a glowing red box with the word exit in big capital letters. Unless, of course, you live outside of the United States, in which case you are picturing a green running man. The story of how these two completely different signs took over the world is a masterclass in graphic design. Building codes are not just random rules made up by bureaucrats. Almost every single rule regarding fire exits, and the signs that point to them, exists because something went horribly wrong in the past. In the early 1900s, building fires were catastrophic because people simply didn't know how to get out. Following the devastating Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in 1911, the United States decided they needed a standardized way to mark the doors. The National Fire Protection Association mandated that exit signs had to be large, illuminated, and, most importantly, red. Why red? Because culturally, red means urgent. Red means danger. Red means fire. Red cuts through the visual clutter of a room and screams for your attention. In the USA, the red exit sign became the absolute gold standard of safety typography. The letters had to be precisely 6 inches high with strokes 3/4 of an inch wide. It was a masterpiece of bold, aggressive legibility. But there was a massive psychological flaw in the design. As globalization took off, safety experts realized that the word exit only works if you speak English. The word actually comes from Latin, meaning he or she goes out. If you are a tourist in an American mega hotel and you don't speak English, a red box with 4 random letters doesn't mean anything to you. Furthermore, in the language of international design, red usually means stop. Think of stop signs and red traffic lights. Why would the sign telling you to go be the color of stop? Enter the Japanese graphic designer Yukio Ota. In the late 1970s, Japan was hosting a competition to create a universal, language-free emergency sign. Ota designed a brilliantly simple pictogram, A stylized, geometric green man running through a white door. It was perfect. The color green internationally signals go, safety, and clear path. The graphic required zero translation. In 1985, the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, officially adopted OTA's Running Man as ISO 7010. Today, if you go to a skyscraper in London, Dubai, Tokyo, or Sydney, you will not see the word exit. You will see the glowing green Running Man. The United States is actually one of the only major countries left on Earth that still heavily uses the red typography, purely out of deeply ingrained tradition and rigid local building codes. But regardless of whether your sign is red text or a green runner, it has one major physical weakness. What happens when you can't see the ceiling? Imagine the perfect evacuation route. You have beautiful, glowing signs hung securely above every single door in the hallway. Now, add fire. What does smoke do? It rises. Within 3 minutes, every single one of those beautiful ceiling signs is completely invisible. In 1980, a massive fire broke out at the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas. The fire spread rapidly, but the real killer wasn't the flames. It was the smoke. Toxic, thick black smoke banked at the ceilings and banked down, completely obscuring the illuminated exit signs hung above the doors. People were crawling on the floor to find breathable air, but down on the carpet, in pitch blackness, there was absolutely no wayfinding. They had no idea which way to crawl. This disaster fundamentally changed how architects design evacuation signage. They realized a terrifying truth. The traditional exit sign is placed in the exact worst possible location during a fire. The solution? Low-level path markings, LLPM. If you walk down the hallway of a modern skyscraper, hotel, or mega cruise ship, look at the baseboards. You will see continuous strips of directional signage placed no higher than 18 inches off the floor. But these aren't powered by electricity. During a massive emergency, the power grid usually fails. Backup generators can fail. So these signs use highly advanced military-grade photoluminescence. During the tragic events of September 11, 2001, survivors descending the World Trade Center stairwells reported that the lights went out, but they were guided to safety by glowing strips painted on the stairs. Following the 9/11 Commission report, a new, strict mandate was introduced for megatowers. Today, photoluminescent signage is a massive industry. This isn't your cheap, glow-in-the-dark plastic toy paint, it is engineered with strontium aluminate. It absorbs ambient UV light from the hallway fixtures during normal building operations. If every single light bulb in the building explodes, these signs will glow with a blinding neon green light for up to 96 hours. If you are ever forced to crawl through a smoke-filled skyscraper hallway, you will find glowing arrows on the baseboards, glowing outlines around the door frames, and a glowing handle on the exit door. The entire evacuation route is visually mapped out in the one place the smoke hasn't reached yet. The floor. Getting to the stairs is only half the battle. Once you pull open that heavy steel door, you are entering a concrete bunker. And inside that bunker is some of the most strictly regulated, highly specific signage on the planet. A skyscraper stairwell is a highly advanced armored survival tube. It is located in the absolute center of the building, wrapped inside a massively reinforced concrete core. To keep smoke from being sucked up the stairwell like a chimney, giant fans on the roof pump fresh air down into the shaft. This is called positive pressurization. When you open the door, air blows out, pushing the smoke back into the hallway. But once you are inside, you are faced with a new psychological nightmare: disorientation. Imagine running down a concrete spiral for 20 minutes. The stairs look exactly the same on floor 80 as they do on floor 40. Without perfect signage, human beings panic. They lose track of where they are. They might exit onto the wrong floor, stepping right back into the fire. Or, tragically, firefighters climbing up might get lost trying to find the floor where the victims are trapped. Because of this, building codes mandate massive, incredibly detailed floor identification signs at every single landing. If you look closely at one of these signs, it is a masterclass in information design. It doesn't just say 42. By law, it must tell you the floor number you are currently on, the specific stairwell name, the upper and lower limits of the staircase, whether or not there is roof access. This is critical. During a fire, people instinctively want to run up to the roof for rescue, but most skyscraper roofs are locked and too hot for helicopters. A sign that clearly says "No roof access" saves lives by forcing people downward. Tactile braille and raised lettering placed exactly 48 to 60 inches off the floor, so a person who is blinded by smoke can physically feel the sign with their hands to know where they are. Architects also have to do complex math to calculate human flow. To maximize space, mega towers use a genius architectural trick called scissor stairs. These are two completely separate staircases that crisscross over each other inside the exact same vertical shaft, like the double helix of DNA. If you enter stairwell A on floor 50 and walk down one flight, you will exit on floor 48. Stairwell B handles the odd numbers. This doubles the evacuation capacity, but for the signage designer, it is a nightmare. The wayfinding graphics must be completely foolproof so that a panicked occupant doesn't accidentally cross over into the wrong stairwell during a crossover point, causing a massive, fatal traffic jam. Color coding, giant painted wall graphics, and arrows are used to heavily separate the two paths. We have perfected the static, painted sign, but what if the glowing green arrow above the door is pointing you down the hallway, right into the center of the fire? In the modern era, a static sign isn't smart enough. The signs need to start thinking for themselves. For a century, exit signs have been dumb plastic boxes with light bulbs in them. They always point in one direction, usually toward the closest stairwell, but fire is unpredictable. What if the closest stairwell is blocked by debris? What if the fire is literally right in front of the exit door? The glowing green running man is still happily pointing you towards certain death. In panic, humans will blindly follow the sign, because the normalcy bias forces us to obey authority, even if that authority is a piece of plastic pointing into an inferno. To solve this, the newest super tall skyscrapers are installing dynamic exit signs, or active wayfinding systems. Instead of a printed piece of acrylic, the exit sign is a highly durable digital screen connected to the building's central fire alarm and smoke detection grid. If smoke detectors sense a massive fire blocking the east stairwell, the building's computer system instantly updates the signs. The sign pointing to the east stairwell changes to a massive red X. The signs in the hallway instantly flip their animated green arrows to point toward the west stairwell. The signage physically reroutes the crowd in real time, just like a GPS rerouting you around a traffic jam. This active signage is also completely changing the oldest rule in fire safety. Since you were a kid, every elevator you've ever seen has a little engraved plastic sign next to it. In case of fire, use stairs. Do not use elevator. But in a mega tall building like the 163-story Burj Khalifa, asking an elderly person to walk down 160 flights of stairs is physically impossible. Furthermore, studies show it would take several hours to evacuate a mega tower via stairs alone. You do not have hours in a high-rise fire. So engineers invented OEO, or Occupant Evacuation Operation. These are heavily armored, highly intelligent elevators designed specifically to be used during a fire. The elevator shafts are pressurized to keep smoke out and powered by independent fire-rated electrical grids. But the biggest challenge with OEO isn't the mechanics, it's the signage. How do you convince people to break the one rule they've been taught since childhood? You do it with dynamic digital signage built right into the elevator lobby. When the fire alarm triggers, the old static warning plaque is ignored. Digital screens above the elevators turn on. If the fire is on floor 70, the screens on floors 70, 71, and 69 will flash green, displaying "Proceed to elevators. Rescue in 30 seconds." But if you are safely down on floor 30, your screen will display a red stop hand and say, "Elevators are currently rescuing priority floors. Please remain at your desk. You are safe." The signage becomes a real-time communicator, actively managing the psychology and panic of 10,000 people at once. It takes an incredible amount of trust to stay at your desk while you know there is a fire above you, but the building's visual commands keep the stairwells clear so firefighters can do their jobs. The next time you walk into a towering skyscraper or even just your local grocery store, take a moment to really look at the walls. Look at the baseboards, Look at the heavy doors and the glowing plastic boxes hovering above them. We spend our lives working, sleeping, and living in these massive glass giants. We walk past thousands of signs every single day, completely blind to the genius behind them. We never think about the graphic designers in Japan trying to invent a universal language for safety. We never think about the engineers testing glow-in-the-dark paint so we can find our way out of the pitch blackness. We never think about the thousands of hours of intense psychological profiling, typography design, and structural engineering that went into creating a simple green arrow. A modern skyscraper isn't just a tall building, it is a highly intelligent defensive machine designed to fight fire, manage panic, and communicate with the fragile human lives inside of it. The brilliance of this wayfinding design is completely invisible to us on a daily basis, and if the architects, engineers, and sign makers do their jobs right, you will hopefully never have to notice them at all. But if the day ever comes when the alarm rings and you are standing 1,000 feet in the air, you can take a deep breath knowing that the building is talking to you. It knows exactly what to do. All you have to do is look for the glowing green man, follow the path, and let the signs guide you home. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the insane design, typography, and engineering behind the signs that run our world, make sure to hit subscribe. Let me know down in the comments. Does your country use the red exit text or the green running man? See you next time.